Hey, this is Mark, and we are at the Action Figuratorium. Today I am doing a toy talk on Loot Crate toys. I am someone who collects toys, but I do not collect anything that says Loot Crate. Why is that? Well, stick around and I'm going to tell you why. So today we're talking about Loot Crate. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's a subscription service where you pay them money, and once a month, in theory, they will send you a box, and inside this box is a bunch of cool sort of nerd pop culture toys, bobbleheads and t-shirts and coffee cups and coasters and keychains and more bobbleheads and cars and maybe an action figure, but probably not. In fact, if there is one, it's probably lame. But that's what Loot Crate is, and it's not a new concept. You've seen this idea go back for a real long time, the sort of blind box subscription, even going back to something like Omaha Steaks, which is a company that you paid the money, and like I think it was once or twice a year they would send you a box full of random steaks. So this isn't anything necessarily original. In fact, in the 2000s I was doing an online store that sold local band merchandise, CDs and shirts and things like that, and I thought about having a blind box subscription idea where once a month they would just get a box of, essentially swag from the store as it was, but it would be all sort of randomly picked out for them and they could enjoy things that they hadn't normally thought that they would be enjoyed. So this is the basic concept behind Loot Crate, and so you come across this stuff actually quite often at thrift stores, and you go to online auctions, you'll see certain toys and you'll see that they're the Loot Crate edition, or it was something that came with in a package from Loot Crate. And I always avoid this stuff. I stay as far away from these things as I can. And the reason for this, and it may be why these toys end up becoming not collectible, right? Because you would think that something like this would be, it's for kind of a unusual sort of collector's sort of market that this is for, right? The people getting this Loot Crate stuff, is because anytime something is made a collector's edition or specifically for people to collect, it's automatically not collectible. It's, collector coins. When they say collector coin on the coin, nobody wants it. No one's actually collecting that because there's nothing interesting about it, because they made a million of something of this just to pawn off on people. It's also has an inferior value a lot of times, that they make up the value not on the materials or what the product is when it's a collector's item, but they make up for it by calling it a collector's item. That is, they try to imbue value into it by just saying it has value, by being collectible. And this is the stuff that nobody ever wants. These are the generic coins, the generic dolls, that toy companies or companies in general pump out, and that nobody wants. And so a subscription service of nothing but collectible things tells me that these are items that nobody is ever going to want to collect. Now, one thing that I was wrong about, and it also sort of colored my opinion of Loot Crate and why I stay away from Loot Crate stuff when I find it in the wild, sort of secondhand, was that I assumed that, and maybe this is why Loot Crate eventually went bankrupt, but I assumed that Loot Crate didn't pay for any of the stuff. that it would be gifted to them by these companies. For example, let's say there's a new Marvel movie coming out and they want to help advertise it, and so they're going to put in figurines, bobbleheads, something to do with the movie in with the Loot Crate so that it goes out to people and they know there's a new Marvel movie or a new DC movie or a new Star Wars movie or something like this. So this would be part of advertising for companies to then take these tchotchkes, as I call them, and give them to Loot Crate and let Loot Crate send them out. And so I assumed that's what was going on, that all these things were just free crap that no one ever really wants. Within 100 years of something, everybody will want it no matter what it is. So you can't just go, oh, this guy's stupid, doesn't know what he's talking about, these. But for the short term, within the immediate weeks, months, years of this stuff coming out, the sort of millions and millions and millions of cheap plastic toys that were in McDonald's Happy Meals, they just don't carry the same kind of collector weight that other toys do. They're really sort of bottom of the barrel, even maybe underneath the barrel. And so I assume that this was the nature of the toys that went into the Loot Crate subscription that you got. So not only was it collector stuff, which means don't collect, but that these were all like sort of corporate franchise freebie giveaways that they were just crapping out and giving to Loot Crate. And I assumed that was, and I was wrong for thinking this, which makes me think that these guys really messed up. But I assumed that was the business model of Loot Crate, that everything was gifted to them, that they would just go out and do a really great job of saying, look, we've got this dedicated base of subscribers, X amount of people that you really want to reach, give us the product, here's how much we need, and then we'll send it out. And their business model is, of course, selling the subscription, and that's how they pay themselves. That's how they pay the work of taking the stuff that they get from the corporations and throw them in the boxes and package, print, sell, actual real work involved. They deserve to be paid, but they're just getting the stuff as freebies. Well, I found out through doing a little bit of research before I made this video, before I just started talking trash, which 10 out of 10 times, it's all trash talk. But before I made this video, I looked up and I saw that Loot Crate actually was in debt because they buy the stuff. And this is totally wild to me. I can't actually believe that they buy the product. It doesn't make any sense at all. They've got the perfectly, beautifully branded business model to get free stuff from all these different organizations, and yet they are buying it, and they are in a huge amount of debt, which also doesn't make sense. You would think that they would say, okay, we've got X amount of money coming in every month. Here's how much we need to pay ourselves. So this is our budget of what we're going to put in this thing, and figure out then if it's even something that people would pay for, and or how to go out and find the stuff. But it seems like they couldn't even figure out that. And so I'm especially curious now as to what's going to become of this company. I believe that they've been purchased by a toy company, NECA, which, by the way, I have reviewed a couple of the NECA Iron Maiden figures, Power Slave and the Trooper. Go check those videos out. Those are fantastic videos because those are fantastic toys. I am not a NECA hater of the toys. I've heard they break. I have yet to break any of mine. I kind of don't touch them. I'm kind of afraid. But I don't have any NECA hate per se of the company because I like the toys. And I believe they own Loot Crate now. So did they get... All right, here's another question. There's a lot of questions in this video, and we've probably gone way off the main topic, but did Loot Crate actually have a huge amount of debt with NECA, and so NECA just absorbed that debt by getting equity in the company, thus buying it, and then perhaps buying out the rest, so that those guys who, it's a golden parachute is what they call it, the guys who are the CEOs and VPs when the company gets bought, they get a big, huge payout, and then they go on to the next company to wreck or ruin. God bless them. We need a lot less of them. And if you're one of those guys and you're watching this video, you should hire me to come in and help you do the next Loot Crate, where I tell you to get the stuff free. You don't buy it. You don't. They give it to you. You're marketing you're marketing Deadpool. They're gonna give you the bobblehead. I don't understand. It's like, no, you're not listening. I'm trying to reach you. It's a stick. It doesn't work. It can't be reached. So that's colored me in thinking that they were just getting this stuff free and that it was just tchotchke level stuff, and when you paid for Loot Crate, it was all this useless crap that you didn't really want, of a bunch of movies that you couldn't stand. And it's called collectible, which means it's not collectible. It means it's junk. And so I always stay away from this Loot Crate stuff. But what's interesting is that when I end up with something that I find at like a Goodwill, or like a bag of stuff, you know, or something from like another thrift store or a garage sale or something like that, I'll do a little bit of research, look it up, because you never know, you may have a rare dog, and I'll find out what it is, but it'll be like the Loot Crate version. Like there was some Kid Robot Loot Crate thing that I came across, because you see Kid Robot and you know, oh, that's Kid Robot. That's their Dunnies, their Moonies. It's that kind of stuff. So you grab it and you find out it's the Loot Crate version. You look it up on eBay and you see that it's worth nothing. It's not worth anything. It's below. And I keep finding this over and over again. When I would look up Loot Crate stuff on eBay, none of it had any value, which reinforces what I think is that nobody wants Loot Crate because it is Loot Crate. I don't know if that makes any sense, but the fact that it is what it is gives it no value. It's anytime you have to pay for something like that, it just ends up being something that people later on in life don't find worth owning. And so there's no demand for it, and it's probably not hard to get. And I don't know anybody who collects anything Loot Crate related, but if so, you've got into the easiest, cheapest collecting thing you can do. It might be interesting if somebody had like every single Loot Crate ever in the box with its own, you know, as a kind of an archaeological artifact. But the actual stuff in itself is I don't know what it is. Maybe they were terrible at buying stuff, at picking things out, and maybe that's kind of why they tanked. Maybe the things that they would pick for Loot Crate were, you know, maybe the guys had just really bad instinct as to what to buy, their buying choices. Maybe they relied upon focus groups and metrics and stuff like that, and maybe like that stuff is just not reliable in this particular genre that they're in. But it's no surprise that the Loot Crate stuff secondhand on markets like eBay, etc., that most of that stuff you look up is not worth anything. Now, if anyone's watching this and you made it this far in the video and you're like, okay, yeah, I know, I collected Loot Crate, I thought some of the stuff was cool, there was a thing that was cool, this thing was lame, this thing. Let me know if there was things in Loot Crate that is genuinely cool. I mean, I would actually like to see or hear about it. I'm not here to hate on anything. I'm here to discover cool stuff. If you're like, yeah, there was, you know, this one November showed up and there was like an entire Venture Brothers thing or something like that, I might think that's cool, you know? Or if you think something's cool, you might go like, well, here's why it could be lame, but here's what they did that makes it unique and neat. I'd love to hear these stories. So if you got them involving the Loot Crate, share them. Other than that, though, I kind of stay away from it, and I'm pretty much still going to stay away from it. And that's about all I got for now. So we hope to see everyone in the next one.